El presidente Hosni Mubarak ha concedido una de las primeras entrevistas a 24 horas. Nos sentimos honrados al esperarlo acá para entrevistarlos en el Palacio Aruba en el Cairo. Mr. President, you project the image of a very strong and self-confident man. Where do you take the self-confidence out from?
They say that I have this very self-confident since I started my life. I was brought up by my father, always giving me directions, giving advices to me, give me some ideals, and he wanted me to be a judge as a start. But when I finished my second school, I preferred to be an officer. I used all my life to depend upon myself when I started my life. Some other people may start their life depending on their fathers, their families, but I had the advice from them. I had to depend upon myself. I started my work as a small officer, small ranking officer in the Air Force. I had my study in the military academy. Then after the graduation in the military academy, I joined the Air Force Academy, and I have the graduation from the Air Force Academy. I started as a fighter pilot. Then after 2 or 3 years, an instructor in the college, in the Flying Academy. And I reached the assistant of the chief instructor in the academy. Then a bomber commander. Then commander of the Flying Academy in the Air Force. Then chief of staff of the Air Force and the Air Force commander. I like to depend on myself, mainly. I have to study all the situation around me before adopting any decision. I don't like to cancel the decision. If it's studied well, it's all right.
You do it pretty well and pretty quickly, as we have seen around the world. When emergency came up, you do it pretty quickly and pretty well.
You could notice it, but I can't notice myself.
Mr. President, what problems do you have being president after a man such as Anwar Sadat?
The first problem in front of me now is the security of the country and security of the people and the individual here after the assassination of President Sadat, which took place on the 6th of October by those kind of Muslim extremists whom I consider they are far away from the Islam rules and the Islam instructions. I could say they are closer to the Khomeini instructions and rules, which we consider it as a whole is not Islam by any means. We are now making investigations with those who are arrested and who did this assassination, and we arrested some other more, and those who are arrested now are mentioned by this lieutenant who assassinated President Sadat. We are making the maximum measures for the security of the people and for the security of the country. And we are going to be very firm with these people.
Mr. President, how are you going to reassure those people who are now somehow worried, I would say, about what will happen after the Israeli withdrawal of Sinai?
I would like the question to be much more precise.
May I say that there are many people that are worried since President Sadat is no more here, and they believe that that was a peace between two men, and it has many times been said that is it really a peace between two people?
I could tell you this. It is not peace between two persons at all. All what President Sadat said was approved by the People's Assembly and by the people in Egypt. It is a policy. It's not a one-man decision. I was living very close with President Sadat since he started the peace process. I think all what he did is the best which was available at that time. And President Sadat said it several times that any country who could ever add any new variant for the peace process or any solution, I am ready to follow him if it is for peace. Not a single new project. This is the only way to peace. The Camp David is the base of the whole thing. Then we signed after that the peace treaty, and we started after that the normalization of relations with the Israelis. We are not going to change our policy because we have no other alternative. And I think if our friends the Arabs had at that time, or even now, any other alternative, they would have mentioned it. There is no other way. After the withdrawal from Sinai, the same policy is going on. We are not going to change. We have established relations with Israel. We are not to drop it at all by any means.
Mr. Mubarak, it has been reported that Syria had offered to send troops to the Libyan border to help Gaddafi against Egypt. If there was a war, would you expect help from Israel against Gaddafi?
I could tell you that we will never think of starting any war with our neighbors. We have stopped and declared that there will be no more war with the Israelis. I'm sure that we are not going to start any other kind of war with any of our neighbors. There is no concentration on our borders against Libya. We are not to fight Libya at all. So no need for asking me if Israel to help me. We never need help from any country if there is anything between us as neighbors.
Egypt would defend itself?
Of course.
With its own
But
means.
Egypt will never start a war or attack anybody at all.
No, I asked in the eventual case that Egypt would be attacked.
I hope that our neighbors here or there realize very well that we are not to start any war.
Mr. Mubarak, questions have lately been raised regarding the size of the American presence in Egypt and their effect on certain extremist groups.
And
their effect on certain extremist groups.
Yes.
Do you feel that this presence is detrimental to the future stability of Egypt?
We having that presence which is mentioned all over the world. They have their own embassy. They have no bases in our country. They are raising hell about the two oases. We brought them to help us in the reconnaissance if there is any surprise attack from any other power against us, just to warn us. But we have no real presence in our country. We don't give them any basis. We deal with them as friends on equal basis. Why the people are saying that the United States interfering in our internal affairs? We never accept that. And we never let any power all over the world to interfere in our internal affairs or to divert our policy internally or outside. You know, since President Sadat was alive, in so many events, he opposed the United States. He said his opinion, which was against the United States' opinion. We have our own policy. We never let anybody to interfere in our internal affairs. We don't give any basis to any power in our country, but the United States is helping us in so many fields, economically and militarily. But we are not going to give them any base.
What future help do you expect from the United States, financially and military?
For the United States, they should hasten delivering the new arms to Egypt to keep our armed force strong against any external intervention in our country. From the point of view of the economic aid, we ask them to be much more flexible in the aid delivered to us. That's all.
Specifically, could you specify what flexibility?
You mean the aid? We take aid from the United States as well as Israel also have aid. The aid to Israel, there is very big flexibility in using the money of the aid there. We have to follow a certain line. Certain projects, if you want to divert from this project to another, it needs another kind of procedure, which takes very long time and make using the delay very late, the aid very late.
You would like to see less bureaucracy,
less bureaucracy and more flexibility.
I see. Mr. Mubarak, since you are not personally identified in the Arab world with the peace initiative as much as President Sadat was identified, do you think that this will enable the moderate Arab countries to better relationship with Egypt?
I said a couple of days ago that we have nothing against our Arab friends. All what we did and what President Sadat did, he sacrificed his life for the peace of the whole area. He started the initiative just to achieve peace in the whole area. He didn't ask our friends to do anything. He did his initiative by his own, and he mentioned that. I said a couple of days ago that I'm not going to say anything against our friends. I spoke with our journalists for our national interest, not to attack any of our friends, even if they attack us in their broadcasting station and in their media. We are giving them some time to reassess their situation. We didn't start the severe relations with the Arabs. Well, what we started the peace process. We were looking forward for the peace in the whole area. They severed the relation after the Camp David Accord, pretending so many things which really we don't believe, and they didn't say any alternative to it. And if they had any alternative, what President Sadat mentioned that time, we would be very reluctant to hear it. But not a single alternative for it. We are giving some time to reassess their policy. We are not going to start anything. We are not going to say any word to answer their attacks in the media. We are going on the basis, we'll wait and see. I think this is the best way now.
It's a very good Oriental way.
Yeah.
Just sit back and see what's going to happen.
Yes.
Mr. President, Mrs. Jihan Sadat played a very important role in her husband's life. Do you envisage your wife's participation in your presidency?
I have my own character and my own vision there. And I can't tell you anything concerning this point.
Mr. President, presidents frequently, I would say, lose touch with the feeling of their own people. You know, with the feelings of their own people, because they are surrounded by advisors who dare not criticize them. What are you going to do to prevent this happening?
I beg your pardon again because of the noise of the plane.
Many presidents lose the touch, lose the contact with their feeling, with the people's feeling.
Yes.
Because most of advisors do not dare criticize their president. What are you going to do in order to prevent that, to keep in touch with your people's feelings?
I'm used all my life to have touch with the people, whom I know, whom I don't know. If anyone asks me to complain from something, say something, I listen to him. This I am used to long time ago. If I listen to my advisors, I accept any criticism. I never get furious or get angry whenever there is any criticism. Because if I'm not going to hear to the criticism of my advisors, I'm going to hear it from any other place else, maybe from the foreign media. So I prefer to listen to every single criticism from anybody here and to see if it is right or wrong, if I'm right or wrong, and to correct my way.
Did you used to criticize President Sadat?
Between President Sadat and I could tell him if anything is not right, is not wrong.
Mr. President, how do you feel that your brilliant military career will help you fulfill your presidential task?
I think I left my military career since 1975. I'm living a complete civil life as politician. Of course, when I started, I had to go on the principle, wait and see and notice what's going around me until I get some experience, then I go forward. Of course, initially I started very cautious and very accurate until I had the experience and I carried on. I was given so many missions with President Sadat on my first stages as a vice president. Some difficulties I met, but I have to study very well. The first mission, I was appointed in April 1975. In June, I had a mission to go to Morocco and Algiers in the conflict about the Sahara. For me, for the first time, deal with the head of state and a king, whom I didn't know before. I was just a son, maybe once or twice. So I have to tackle this problem with the maximum which I could do. And thank God I succeeded. And I had good friends here and there. And so on, I had so many missions, and I acclimatized myself in the civil life. I have to deal with politicians. I met with so many heads of states all over the world, nearly all Europe.
Mr. Mubarak, do you plan to go to Latin America, to Mexico specifically? You've been to Europe, to the States.
Why not? But I had no invitation from Mexico.
I hope you'll get us. Well, after this interview, I've
I met, we had your president here.
Yes.
I met with him, and I went with him to Aswan, and done some talks with him. He was at that time, he was a nice man.
I think so.
Yes.
I definitely think so.
Yes.
Mr. Mubarak, would you say you are a religious man?
I'm a religious man, but not an extremist here or there. I'm a very moderate religious man.
Mr. Mubarak, as you know, many of the world leaders are now gathered at Cancun Summit Conference in Mexico. Do you have any message to convey to them?
All what I could tell them, that as far as so many leaders from the whole world, I hope they could deliver a good statement to be concluded to their general statement after the meeting, which helps the peace process in the Middle East. That's what I ask them or convey to them to do.
Mr. President, thank you very much. I had a pleasure interviewing you. And to see you smile for the first time. I've never seen you smile before.
You didn't see me before.
Esta ha sido no solo una de las escasísimas entrevistas concedidas por el nuevo presidente de la República Árabe de Egipto, señor Hosni Mubarak, y la primera a un medio informativo latinoamericano, la primera del tercer mundo también, sino la primera concedida al aire libre en el jardín del Palacio Aruba, acá en el Cairo. Desde el Cairo, para 24 horas, Erika Fixlr.